having people in your life that truly want like the best for you. And you've always been that for me. I mean, I know our relationship is, I still consider you. I mean, you're a newer friend. It's not like we've known each other for like 10 or 15 years.
We're at like, what, 6?
Are we at 6?
But it feels longer, but
time.
I was going to say we've kind of crossed over and like now we've been friends for a while.
Wait, we have to share how we met because I love that we just dove in.
I know.
Because we met on a blind, I feel like it was a social media date.
It was a social media date. It was, thank you, Jason.
Jason Strauss.
He gets a shout out. I saw you had reshared something I posted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, who's she? And then I saw you knew Jason and Noah, obviously Noah. And I didn't know him. I just knew Jason. And he was like, oh, that's my partner's wife. Like, you should reach out. She's really into the wellness space in New York. So we were DMing and we were like, let's get together in LA and have dinner.
And we did. Well, it's so funny because Jason was so different with me. He's like, how are you not friends with Mona? Like, he's like, you're in this scene, but like, you're not friends with Mona. And I was like, actually, I've had my eyes on her. And
oh my God.
Like, I was already like into everything that you were sharing because we had that same.
We were both plant-based and food combining at the time.
Yeah.
We've evolved, but still.
A lot has changed.
Yes.
In our lives since that time. But I remember it so vividly. It was at Beauty in Essex in LA. And our table, like I think we had like a few other friends there too.
Yep.
But I stood outside and I waited for you because I felt like I didn't want you to like walk in and feel like intimidated by a group.
Which I would have at that point in life for sure.
And it was just like instant connection.
It really was. It was I think you were so warm and we both have that.
Mm-hmm.
I think as people, we're very warm to everyone. And we just felt instantly close.
Instantly.
Right?
Yes.
Like we started traveling together right after. Like we got very close.
I know. You came to Singapore.
Yeah.
And it was just, we were like eating in bed, all jet lagged. And I always love, this is the beauty and the power of social media, really, when it's like utilized, I think, in the best way and to the best use of its potential, which is massive, as we know. But it can, clearly there is so many sides to it. But I feel like you are without a doubt like one of the greatest things that ever happened to like, me making a real friend that came through Instagram. So it's kind of crazy.
Honestly, you too, because at the time, even it was just you and I was living in LA, but moving to New York, when I really think about it, I'm like, God, like that one person that just connects you and is the beginning of that branch to everybody you know. And you've just been such an integral part of my friends and the relationships I've made in New York. So you really are the best thing that came out of it.
Well, I'm so happy you live in New York now because I remember at first when you were coming from LA, you were so like unsure. Like you didn't love it.
At all.
And what shifted?
When I first got here, I think I was still in a very LA mindset where aesthetic was everything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm used to palm trees and sunshine and beautiful modern buildings. And I came to New York and I was like, what is this? Like I'd go to the nicest Pilates studio and it was like lugging up 5 like flights of stairs in this like weird little dark room. And I was just like, oh my God, beauty was different to me then. And then COVID happened and I was stuck here. And then it just, something during that period, maybe I was home so much where it felt like my home. And I think being in love and like, that's, that now this is my home. And all of a sudden something shifted where I'm just like, I get it. Like I find the beauty in all the rustic, like different people, like old buildings, almost like the grit of it. Yeah. I love now. So I've fully shifted.
I'm so happy. It makes me so happy. I always love when people like become a diehard New Yorker. Because like, come on, it's just the best place ever to live.
I actually remember I was visiting once, it was Halloween or something. And I would always go around with you and the kids. I would like go pick them up with you when I was visiting New York. And we went to this little mini grocery store and you were like, oh, let me just stop to get some stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this grocery store is so old. And I was like, is there anything in here that's even, I'm used to like Erewhon. And I was like, oh, I don't like New York. And now that I live here, I just want to say like, those are the most organic, best grocery stores in the city, those little tiny ones.
The little tiny ones.
The tiny ones are the best.
The little hole in the walls.
Your perception just shifts. I think it was just what my norm was. And now I'm like, I love it all.
It makes me so happy. I mean, as you were saying, like you were so into aesthetic, it just made me think back to like even when we first met. And I feel like you were also like, even I like remember having conversations about like Instagram grids and like you were so into aesthetic and it was so aesthetically pleasing and beautiful. And I feel like just as I've really witnessed your evolution and just like becoming more of who like I really have always known you really are and just more comfortable being you, a lot of that changed too. And like even with your social media journey, I feel like for anyone who is new to you, I mean, first of all, like Mona is one of those people that just she's like, you're filled with so much knowledge. That's what I gravitated towards with you. And we always say, like you're the science-based and like I'm the soul-based.
Right.
Soul-based. And like we've always had that like soul and science kind of connection because we're quite opposite in that sense, but like the blend, like our Facebook page that we created, we had a Facebook show called Beautifully Balanced. Is it still thriving?
It's still up. I remember I was working with Facebook and they were like, by the way, like you guys have like 20,000 likes on these. We have to give them to one of your pages. And I was like, no, you leave them there. Like we're not going to just take it. Beautifully Balanced will stay up.
I know. That was really fun.
It was.
And I feel like I still love the name.
Me too.
Beautifully Balanced.
Me
it's
too.
Such a great name. But walk us through kind of how everything shifted for you because it's been such a journey and you took a massive break off social media. I remember vividly that time. And just what brought you to the point of kind of being where you are now?
I think I was always this person. And then I think I lost it when I moved to LA because when I really think back to when I was in college, I was like high school and college. I was like the funny, goofy one. My friends, like,
really?
I was the one prank calling and like, yes, I have I really have a sense of humor. Like and I swear, no, not that part. But I feel like on social media, people might not know that.
It's true. Know? No, you are super silly.
Yeah, I'm very like, and I think when I got to LA, there was so much. I just so badly wanted to like get into this circle. And I saw a certain life for myself. And I was like, I loved entertainment. And then of course I was working as a pharmacist and all of my friends were models and reality stars. And I was like, why don't I have a life like that? Like, what am I doing? Killing myself for 10 hours a day. Of course, nothing is as great as it seems. So something just shifted. And I think the group of friends that I gravitated towards, because LA has amazing people, but it just so happens that I think the ones that I was just surrounding myself with, you kind of become your surroundings. And I think even my idea of what normal beauty was got morphed because you don't realize when you're in this bubble, like not everybody has a lot of work done and is very glamorous and is just this kind of bombshell beauty. You walk into a restaurant in LA and I mean, you see it.
Oh yeah.
It's just like beauty is everything. And when I would leave LA, I was like shocked. I really like that became my normal. So I think moving to New York was the first step, just kind of shifting what my normal was. And then I really think my gut health issues because I was trying everything, all these different diets, antibiotics, herbals. And then I think what happens is you end up like, okay, what's my last resort is going into the like mental health, spiritual, like is there something deeper going on? And then when I started to dig into that, I think I just slowly became more of who I really am. Like I feel more myself now than ever.
You're so grounded.
Thank you.
And centered. But I think you always were, but I feel like you didn't trust yourself.
Yes, you're right.
You were like always second guessing.
That's the thing. Like in my soul, I was always this person. And then I was just a little distracted. And I think that's why I connected with people like you because you knew it. Like it wasn't like I was this bad person. I was just very distracted and then social media too. You know, it's easy to get lost in the whole aesthetics of it. Also, we're the millennial, like we were that time where everything was beauty and filters and looking perfect. So I think it was just the perfect storm of distracting me from who I really am.
Oh, that is so good and so honest.
Yeah.
I think so many people are living in that place right now and so unaware of it. And I think the thing that's most attractive about you, aside from all of this, which you're just, it's like you look at someone like you and you're like, oh my God. And then the more that I've gotten to know you, it's the self-awareness factor and being able to recognize something and then really work at shifting it and transforming it. And I know that's definitely something you and I have always connected with. Always. I feel like this is going to go in so many different directions because I want to talk about this, but I still don't want to lose how you changed everything with social media because I'm going to go back to kind of where I was going with the Joe Dispenza situation because that was such a pivotal moment for both of us. But how you are in this space where you're doing all of these brand deals, you're working, you have someone managing all of your deals, you're literally pumping out content like a machine. And then you just decide you're not feeling fulfilled.
Yep. It was really building up and, I had so much support around me and I had this team creating all the content I wanted and I was getting all these, everything was working, but I hated it. At the end of the day, I was just exhausted. And even on the days where I was filming, I remember being excited to film before when I was in LA. I was like, oh my God, this is a dream. And then I just think I got lost in the, this is best practice. And then I kept trying to talk because it's funny, as much as I don't want to focus on perfection, I think naturally I'm drawn to beauty. And just certain, even colors, aesthetics, it speaks to me.
Yes.
And I was even that little detail where I was like, oh, but yellow and purple are going to perform better on a reel. And I was doing things that just didn't feel like me because it's self-expression at the same time. So, I talked to Gary about it and, he's, your partner, you're you confide in, and I respected him in that space, of course. And he really just pushed me to hey, it's not a big deal. You could even take 2 years off. And when you really think about it, in the 90 or 100 years we're going to live, hopefully, what's 2 years?
Right.
At the time, it feels like everything. So my plan, remember, was 2 months.
I remember.
We talked together. About it. Yeah, we did Miami together.
We did New Year's together.
And it was interesting because everyone was on their social or talking about it, and I just wouldn't even open it.
But you didn't even care.
I did not care. It was so good. And then because I had told myself 2 months in January, I was like, okay, time to come back. And I just didn't feel ready. But I pushed it. I came back for a couple months and then there was something in me that was like, no, just take this time off. And really for that, it was pretty much a year after that, I started questioning everything, which I think is smart. Where I was like, do I even like social media? Do I even like health and wellness? What am I really doing? And turns out I do love it all. So it was good at the end, but it was a long time to think about it.
I know for myself that when I take even a weekend off, it's amazing. First of all, you don't want to come back.
No, you don't. So it's peaceful.
It's really peaceful. But it is such a double-edged sword in this space because it's also business, and I've really been working at my relationship with it where I actually love sharing. I love sharing. I love capturing, documenting, but I need so much space in between it all. So finding that balance of knowing when I need a minute and not even checking it. That's the difference. I think people will say they're, they took a weekend off, but they don't take a weekend off.
They're still scrolling.
They're still scrolling.
That's the biggest part.
That's the biggest part of it.
Yeah, posting isn't a big deal.
No, because you can post and walk away, but it's the being so locked in and feeling that need. It's an addiction.
It is. And I also just want to say, I know it sounds like it comes from a very privileged place to also take a year off because I understand I had never taken a break, from high school to pharmacies, working 2 jobs, basically building my brand while I was doing. So I understand not everybody can just take a year off work.
Right.
I feel like I had kind of earned it at that point where I was like, you know what, I just need a second. And sometimes taking a break doesn't even have to come in the form of like, I'm not working. It's just taking a break from the thing that's like really, like when I left working at the pharmacy, I took a job practically as an assistant for a year because I just and like that's kind of humbling to do because I went, I got my doctorate, I'm like making all this money and then I leave to do something because I was that unhappy doing it. So sometimes it's just stepping away from what you need a break from.
And getting clear with why you were feeling so drained.
Yes.
And the things that make you happy.
Yes. And what I learned is, well, number one, during that time, which I highly recommend to everyone, I really broke my addiction to my phone. Like I'm the most annoying person to text now because my phone could be in the other room all night and I don't care. Like if I'm with the people I need to care about, I'm good.
I was listening to you, of course, on the Skinny Confidential. And I know you said like you gave a lot of credit to Lauren with this. Me too.
100%. That podcast episode changed me.
100%. Like it's so interesting that who else was it? Glennon Doyle.
Yes, she's the one who
Glennon, right. Who's like, when you text me or you're emailing me, like you're entering my space, asking for access to me on your time.
But I have to respond right away. What is that?
We feel like we need to.
Right.
So it is this training, which I've really been working on it too. We're like not feeling this like knee-jerk reaction to always respond to people in the moment. This takes practice, guys, because you feel like you're being rude.
Right.
Right?
You feel like it, but it's funny because then you teach people what to expect from you.
Exactly.
And now people don't expect a response for days sometimes. I'm sorry, but I'm like, we have a lot going on.
It's so funny too, knowing just being so close with like you and Gary. Like we have this little group. Like our group text is like one of my favorite things. Gary, by the way, Gary's like the biggest sweetie. I know he's a little sweetie.
He's a little sweetie. It's our inside joke.
No, I'm just like, look at that little sweetie.
He's like an actual sweetheart, just teddy bear, right?
No, like Gary is such a G and a persona on like just a master motivator. And then you like get him at dinner with that little beanie on
and his little smile.
He's just so sweet.
I know.
He really is. But what I was going to say is being with men like Noah and Gary, who are kind of the opposite.
Yes.
But not affected the way that we're affected.
That's exactly it.
Right?
That's exactly it. We don't like that. It doesn't translate well for us, but they can handle it.
They can handle it.
Yeah.
And they're blasting off like things don't sit. I'm sure Gary's always clearing out his inbox.
I mean, it's the first thing he does when he wakes up is to take his phone. Too. And he's fine. So I'm honestly like, you know what? You know what's best for you. I think it's all on how you perceive it and how you relate to everything.
It really is. And that is what brings me to, because I know when we first became friends, I was meditating. And I know you were like, you were very skeptical. Maybe you just, I don't know. You tell me what you think.
No, I wasn't scared. I wanted to do it, but I couldn't.
Okay, you felt like you couldn't.
Yes.
Okay, wait, that's actually really important because most people feel like they can't.
Yes.
So you mentioned something about having like gut health issues, which I know was one of the culprits that also led to like really committing to the practice, would you say?
100%.
Can you share a little, just because I feel like so many people turn to you for health and wellness advice. And I mean, I feel like you always know like the best brands, why, like that. I'm obsessed with that. I love when you share that stuff, by the way. Like I love the
food brands.
Love. Everyone does. Dylan does. I know Dylan loves when you break all that stuff down. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But what got you to really, because I love that you're such a diehard meditator now.
Diehard.
It's
like, that's my priority for the day. My non-negotiable.
Same.
Over working out, when like I love working out, but meditation comes first.
Same. And I think a lot of people are like, wait, what? And for me, I'll just say one thing is, because what I have found is when you meditate, the space for all of the things that matter open. It just, you see it. You see the space.
You can't even really put into words. And there's so many types of meditation, right? The other day I did one with Erica.
Yes, yeah, I know.
She's on your
amazing.
App. She's amazing. And the breathwork ones are so different. And I felt like my body was a balloon. I swear, and sometimes just emotion comes out. The Joe ones hit me in a different way.
I remember.
So having all these gut health issues and then being someone that people turn to for health and wellness, there's a lot that happens there emotionally because I felt like an imposter. I'm like, how am I supposed to recommend things when I have all this stuff going on?
Wow.
And I even talked to my therapist about it and she was like, do you not think therapists have therapists? And I was like, that's a really good point.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to recommend. Everyone asked me for probiotics. I'm like, how could I be the one to tell you when I haven't tried one that works? And I will never share unless I personally know.
Always.
Right.
You and I are the same.
We're the same on that. So there was a lot of that to work through, but there was something about Joe. Remember even before COVID, I think I texted you a video of his and I was like, we got to go to this guy. I like this guy.
Yes.
And I
was like, oh, I heard things. I heard all these controversial things. I didn't
want to say that, but I remember you texted me that.
I feel like it's important. And by the way, he's amazing.
He's amazing. Right.
One of the best gifts I've ever been given in my life was
I was so happy to give you that gift. Oh my God.
From you and Gary. It was just, I couldn't believe it. It was the kindest thing. But we had wanted to go on a retreat or something together. And Mona did the legwork. I was like, we're going. You pick it, I'll come.
Yes. He was just speaking to me because I think a lot of what he focuses on is health. And it was just that you are your own pharmacy, the placebo effect. I mean, you read these things. I haven't read his full book. I've really just done his courses. But in the week long, he shares these stories that you're like, the recoveries people have. So I think, my stuff was just gut health, but still it was really speaking to me because it had been 3 years. It's been a very long journey for me. It's a lot. And I think also the stress of then I go into, if my gut's not healthy, what's going on with my immunity? And you go down this whole, especially when you're in this space. So there was just something at his week long. So just.
Wait, this is, yeah.
So
we were supposed to go together.
We were supposed to go together. And then I get there and find out as soon as we land in Cancun that I had been exposed to COVID. I had a full meltdown and I was like, what if I get stuck in Mexico? I left and I left you in Mexico.
With her bag of snacks. And I was like, I'm good.
I did.
She came with a cooler. I was like, you know me. I love my stuff and I'm good. But no one's like Mona.
I was like,
there was a refrigerator with us. You baked something?
I baked breakfast bars. I was like, I don't know what kind of food they're going to have.
I don't even know if we were supposed to bring that in.
I probably not. I left it all for you. I literally had bags of grain-free Cheetos.
All the entire week. Wait, before you even say anything else, because it was so interesting. When we were I was going through so much stuff. During that time, I was in a very weird transitional space where we're building.
I remember.
It was I was in a really heavy time.
I know.
I building the app. There was so much shifting and changing. And for some reason, on the way to the airport, I had this feeling come over me. I meditated in the car and it was you have to do this alone.
No.
Swear to you. I didn't tell you.
No.
Well, because I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to think I didn't want to be with you.
Of course. Right.
But it was so interesting. You got it was vividly clear. It was you need this experience for yourself. You have to, because when you think about it too, right? When you go with someone, which is so special and amazing, and we will do things like that, but there was something about this one where it was so deep.
It was.
That I needed to process it on my own.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy because I felt so bad leaving you there.
No, I was I wasn't even
I got it.
Oh, no. I was go home.
You know what I love about you? Can I just say? You're such an adult. Because I feel one of the reasons I've never had a big girl group, I have close friends, but never a group of 20. You know how there's some girls that have that, they're girl gang? Because I can't deal with the the getting mad, you were like, you handle what you have to do. I am fine. I will be good. Like, no hard feelings. Like, you just were so adult and mature about it. So I didn't feel guilty leaving. Because if it was another friend, I might have been like, I don't want her to get mad at me. And like,
oh God, I'm so over that. You guys, can everyone just stop being so fucking needy?
Thank you.
It's so annoying.
Yes.
And needy friends,
I can't.
It's really hard to maintain friendships with needy friends.
No.
Like, you've got to work on your stuff.
Like, I cannot talk to you for a month and it's fine. And
no, I haven't even seen you since that gorgeous beauty just blasting me on her finger that we'll get to. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. It's so insane. Like,
I'm sorry.
I keep looking at it.
I stare at it every day, all day.
Yes, as you should. I deserve it. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, I ended up going through the experience myself. It wasn't even, I didn't want to. I had to process.
I just love stories like that. Nothing excites me more, even like food. I know I love food, but when I see the universe working in its magical ways, I just have faith in everything.
Oh, me too.
I get so happy.
And I remembered one thing that you were really nervous about.
COVID?
No, it was, remember, like, something was happening.
Yes.
To Mona during the meditations.
Like, my body would move and I was like, I don't want
almost like convulse a little bit.
Yes,
or like
shake. Like, I felt like it was like basically kundalini, like shaking. I felt like in my stomach.
Right. And I was like, I think it's energy moving. And that's what it was. Does it still happen?
Still, it happens. It's funny. I feel like my meditation. So basically when I started Joe's, I finished his whole course, the online course, before the week long. And one of the last things on it is like, he teaches you the breath work. And when I
didn't finish the course.
You didn't,
Mona's a much better student than I am. I like halfway and like, I still listen to it.
Honestly, you don't need to go back if you did the week long.
No, I actually love going back.
It's good. But my body started shaking and I was like, what is going on? And then ever since that moment, it like opened up something where my body will just like move during different meditations. And then I was like, I wanted to tell you because I'm like, what if something weird happens while I'm meditating? We're sharing a room. Luckily, nothing did. But when I left and you had the experience alone, I remember you sent me a voice note after where you were like, you need to go to this.
Yes.
You couldn't explain it. And I went a month later. I was able to go. And I'm so glad I did it alone too.
I'm so glad you did it alone.
It was just one of those experiences. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was enamored the whole time. Right?
Enamored.
Right?
But I was also a little, I don't love to use the word, I guess you could say curious. Like, I wasn't skeptical, but there were things that, I know Michael Bostic too. It was like the voice and I was just like, it's not vibing. And then day 3, I was like, stop judging. Because I was judging it. I was like, no.
You were like, I know a lot. Like,
yes. And guess what? And I threw that all out the window and I had such a transformational experience because I allowed myself to like be there, be with it, experience it, and really do it, and then see what was happening. And I was feeling alive.
What was your, like, what do you feel like was the most, like, how did you leave feeling? Because for me, I mean, I can't even put into words how I felt after. It changed me forever.
Ready to take over the fucking world.
Yes. Inspired.
Inspired. Mm-hmm. But it's also like the energy of being around so many like-minded people who are all there to like strive for the same thing.
Yes.
Right? Like that for me was like I loved it. I loved that element of like feeding off the energy of being around people who are all there.
You know what else I love? That like when I left, my feeling was just like trust and joy, like freedom. I felt like something that was blocked inside me, which like when I used to hear people talk like that, I would judge and be like, okay, like
what do you
that's
mean?
So woo-woo.
Right.
But that's exactly how I felt. And what's cool about that week long is like, it's not like you're going to a conference for business or for whatever. Like you had a totally different outcome from it than I did. Like you left feeling like really inspired. Maybe if I went again, I would have the same feeling as you.
Right. No, I mean, I left and I was like, I want to be speaking on stage more. Like I was just like, and I'm going to do it. It really moved something in me, which just brings it back to, like really tapping into those desires and like that future self and like walking into my life like that.
Those beach walks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, forget it. Forget it.
It's an experience.
It is. So because of all of the like the work and the meditations, because I know I don't know if you are still working with Dr. Will Cole.
I love him.
He's incredible. Mm-hmm. But how, like, coming from the place of like feeling not great to now feeling good, right? And do you feel like you've gotten to a place where SIBO is non-existent? Are you still working with that?
Still working with it. I've definitely made progress, and I hadn't made any progress in years. So I know that's like a step. And, you know, it's funny because I want to come out of it and be like, oh my God, I'm fully cured. Like I would love to write that book. Right. But I still think there's a little more work to do.
That's good.
As much as I made so much progress, and Joe, I noticed, so as I've continued to meditate consistently every day for the last year now, over a year, I find that, I don't know if this happens to you, but I keep experiencing different things, almost like going deeper. Like now one thing, like I remember like a lot of times in meditations, my hand will just raise up to one of my centers and just hold it there. And it's these like kind of really gentle and voluntary things. And that kind of happened for a few months. And every time I feel like I'm digging a little deeper. So I've definitely made progress. I'm not 100% there yet, but I just feel like I'm so much more grounded in what work needs to be done versus like, what diet can I do and how can I restrict myself and like what antibiotic can I take? Like how can I fix it?
Right. I love that shift in perspective. Yeah. Oh, I like can't wait to go there with you with food because we've been on such a food journey together.
Yes.
Without even knowing at one point because
we did it. We both were doing it on our own, like, but shifting.
Like not talking about it.
Yes.
And then during like COVID times, but this was like as things were really loosening up.
Not in the heart of it.
Not in the heart of it, but like we were spending like weekends quarantining together. Mm-hmm. And I think it was, remember we used to do our like FaceTime dates too? Yes. Like we would set up, I highly recommend those by the way. They were fun. So cute and fun. But I think I had told you like I'm like experimenting with eggs, and Gary was like, oh, she's experimenting. She's experimenting too. And he's like, see, babe, don't feel bad. Like,
oh my God, he's so cute. That's 100% right.
He was like, the fish. She's trying the fish. I remember.
Yes, and it's so funny. Like, see, babe, it's fine. I mean, he's like the king of don't judge yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I had started experimenting because, all these functional medicine doctors I was working with were like, you need to try something else. And it really did. Honestly, adding in animal protein has really made a huge shift for me in digestion. But I was so scared to say it. And God, it's like we put so much pressure on ourselves. You're one of my best friends and I was afraid to tell you.
Same.
And then as soon as you told me, I felt this like, okay. Every time you share it, can I just say, like, it's funny. I don't consider my friends people I like watch as influencers, quote unquote, right? But then I always love those moments when I'm like really inspired and motivated because I watch you do it and I'm like, oh, she makes me feel like I can share it more too. Because there's still a little bit of that. Are people going to judge me?
Of course. I feel it too, just so you know. Like it is hard for so many reasons. And I don't know if you feel like this, but for me, there are so many incredible aspects, right, to eating a plant-based diet. I primarily eat mostly plant-based.
Yes.
With dabbling in things here and there. But there was something that happened to me when I stopped feeling like it had to be this one way. And what if I just leaned into trying the things and seeing how I felt? Plus, coming from, like, for me, I run so anxious. Like, I naturally run really anxious. And even with, like, my acupuncturist and osteopath, it's like, well, let's try some other foods. And I have to say, like, I do feel more grounded from it. But there is this, like, I think about the animals and it's really hard. It's really hard. And I'm like, when I visualize and I'm really thinking about it, I'm really torn. I'm being honest, and I know I'm eating things and trying things, but I still am not in that space where I'm like not entirely not feeling bad about it.
Right. I mean, it's not refreshing, but it's just comforting to know that you still feel that way, because I do too. And I actually, like, taste-wise, I loved being vegan. Like, I thought it was so easy for me.
Same.
But I don't know if it was more of like a mental shift for you, if there was just something that you felt drawn to trying something else, or maybe just the freedom of not restricting yourself in eating a certain way.
Both.
I just feel like once I started adding it back in, I was like, oh yeah, I remember what this is like. It wasn't like this crazy shift for me. But then when I do see videos or people do talk about animal cruelty, the place I go to is like, okay, there's so much that we do that we'd have to live such a perfect, sustainable life to not harm anything.
I know.
It's kind of part of how the world works.
I know. And there are elements where I'm like, tell myself that. And I just like, I'm sharing this because, listen, when I put a video out there sharing that I'm living in this space of really this freedom with food and just allowing myself to try things on that I told people even not to eat in the past. Like, I got slammed for sharing that. Like, I've been trying turkey bacon.
I saw your video and I was so proud of you.
It's not perfect. It's not. I'm not going to, but I also battled an eating disorder for a good number of years of my life. And the thing that triggers me, it's funny because people always ask me, like, now that I am no longer bulimic, like, do you feel triggered? Do you ever feel this urge? I don't. But what triggers me is when I get shamed.
Wow.
But not in the sense that I want to go back to that way, because I fully feel like I've, worked really hard at just healing my relationship with self. I get like, oh, I don't want to share anything. And I'm just avoiding reading the comments, if I'm going to be really honest.
Protect your peace.
Yeah. And I'm
honestly,
just sharing the truth.
Just like, really, I don't know. I hope people are more mindful with their words, because you luckily won't go back to that space and you have support and you've done the work, but there's so many people who could get triggered to go back.
They do go back.
Yeah.
I know.
It's just like everyone's trying their best. And when you know someone has good intention, that's my thing. Like, if you know that someone is a good person and they have good intention, just like leave it alone.
I know.
I've really enjoyed like broadening my diet, honestly. I don't know. I shared this in my video. I'm like, I don't know if I'll eat this way forever.
Same.
I might be vegan in 2 years.
Same.
Like, don't quote me on it.
No, I say the same thing about not drinking alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I could
Right.
have a drink tomorrow, but I'm just really enjoying this space of being where I am. I feel like people are going to be dying to know this from you. And I know you recently just launched your podcast with Chloe, who
Yes.
I absolutely love. I can't wait to listen. What's the name of it?
Core Self.
Core Self. Love the name. Give us just a taste of foods that fuel you. Not even what you eat in a day. Like, what are like, what's breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Because you do eat really clean.
I do. That's the
And
one
you love
thing.
it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think regardless of what type of diet I eat ever, whether I'm going to be vegan or not, or keto or paleo, whatever I decide to do, eating clean does feel right in my core. And, and it's so easy. It's like when everyone asks what that is, it's like the least amount that a food, like how a food is originated, the least amount of messing with and processing and adding and whatever to it. So I feel the best when I eat that way. And there's something about making a meal with like fresh herbs. One of my favorite things is like fresh mint, fresh dill, basil. There's like something that's released like happiness inside of you. I don't know if it's just coming from the earth and you're just making it yourself and there's love and care that goes into it. Like, I truly feel happy and nourished. So I get excited to make recipes like that.
You put love into your food.
I put love into it. I love it. Like, that's my love language, is making healthy snacks for people. And I love letting people try something healthy and like seeing if they like it and how they react to it. So the things that I feel the most nourished, I would say I'm doing a lot of ghee right now.
I know. I saw you post it.
Yes. cook with it because you can cook at high temperatures. It's just really good for your gut health. I like it. So it tastes good. It's been one thing that I've really enjoyed adding back. Like, actually, I never ate it before. I didn't even know what ghee was before when I wasn't vegan. I do like bone broth a lot. And I'll do it. There's a couple brands like Bonafide or Brodo where you buy it frozen and it's like organic and pasture raised. So I'll do that, and I'll actually take like a bunch of fresh parsley and cilantro and like cook it in there and then drink it together. It's very good. Chia pudding has always been one for me that really does it for me. Do you love it?
I love it. The one that you guys, Mona, how long is the
Daily
collab
Dose?
with Daily Dose?
We don't have an end.
I feel like you should keep it going, you guys. Mona has the most incredible collab with Daily Dose meals. These are at-home delivery.
Yep, and they are the cleanest.
They're so good.
So good,
I made
right?
a spread because I had eaten out. And like, when you have food and you're like, I can't waste the food. I literally brought the food in for, look at Frank.
Frank liked it.
For Frank and Tom. And like, I made us a feast. It was insane.
Oh my God, thank you.
So clean.
So clean. I think, look, price point, I wish we could make it less expensive. Or, it's just
hard with
it's
food.
hard because everything's organic and biodynamic and it's made fresh. So it's still better than ordering out. Like, if you really want to eat clean and you don't want to do it yourself, this is the best way to go. And we do have an omnivore option too.
Yes.
So you don't have to be plant-based.
Can you talk about steaming your fruit? Are you still steaming fruit?
Yes.
And salads.
Yes. So this was something I just kept hearing across the board. This was even before I got deep into meditation, but Ayurveda was saying it, and then functional medicine doctors were telling me, and then I got into Iranian traditional medicine. My grandmother one day was like, yeah, don't ever eat cold fruit. So cooking food basically just makes it easier for your digestion. And depending on your body type, like my body type across the board does better with like a warming, like cinnamon, cloves, warm food, cooked food, right? Like we tend to be a little more dry and cold. So we need like warming foods. Doing that has definitely helped me. Like when I eat a lot of raw fruit, which is my absolute favorite, I just want a big bowl of raw fruit and a big raw salad. And I can't do it right now. That's all I want. But it really makes a difference. Like I feel more bloated, uncomfortable. So it just helps me. I steam it a little bit, a little water and cinnamon. And then salad too. I'm a big believer that you can make yourself like anything. Like if you know it's good for you.
If you know it's helping you.
And it's helping you. And you just adjust. Not that you can make yourself. You can learn to adjust. We adjust to everything. Like at first I was like, ugh, this is the worst. And now I love it.
You even got Gary eating the salads.
The arugula salad?
Yeah, he loves that
That salad, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like it is really good. This arugula salad, it's just massaged.
Do you share recipes on your site?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Not as many as I should, but I do more. I'd say more on Instagram, TikTok.
MonaVand.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Amazing. I feel like since the moment I met you, it was like, you just like wanted love.
Yes.
Like you were just someone who you were like,
you could feel it.
And like you're such a little lover. And now just like seeing you so in love and also like intuitively remember the time you were like, I have to tell you something. Can we share that?
Yes, let's share it.
Mona was like, I have to talk to you in person. So she came over to my old apartment in the city.
I was visiting New York.
Yeah.
And I came over.
And she was like, can I tell you? And what did I say?
You were like,
Can I guess?
Can I guess? I was like, what? And you were like, you and Gary are going to live together and you're moving to New York. And I was like, yes. How did you know that?
And I like knew nothing.
You knew nothing.
Literally nothing. But like, I just picked up on like this small, like there was like something that shifted with you.
Yes.
And I'm so happy for you. And to see you, it's someone who just like supports you to know and doesn't just want you. I think this is really important for anyone out there. And especially like, I think of like you and even myself with dating men that are very powerful men, right? Or just dating someone in general. It's just so important to always maintain like this sense of independence for yourself. And what I've really loved like getting to know with you guys is that he's always supported that and like wants those things for you, doesn't just want you to like morph into his world. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's so important for all of us women and men to have this self-independence.
It's important for your soul. Like you just need to have your sense of self. I feel like I've lost it in past relationships even. And I know we're both with these men who are very powerful and successful, but we have really good ones because they're so kind and so supportive. Honestly, I feel so lucky.
I know. You and Noah are so like sweet friends.
I love Noah. Me and Gary the other day, we were with you and Gary's like, Melissa, do you know that once every 10 to 12 days, me and Mona have a combo about how much we love Noah?
And I was like,
You're like, what about me? I know I needed Noah's help on something the other night. He called me at 10:30. He's just, oh my God, he's just the most lovable, like kind, loyal. Like I love Noah.
He's also a little sweetie.
He is. I think that's why the four of us get along so well.
It's true.
Right?
We have such a nice friend group. It's so fun.
We really do.
And now, okay, she said I could talk about this, you guys, because give me that hand. Because you can't not notice this beauty. Mona and Gary are engaged. Can you tell? And what? Tell us anything that you can tell.
Yeah. We just we decided not to do an actual post about it.
I like that.
Good. Our friends know, our family knows.
Let the smile say it all.
Exactly.
The glow.
Yes. Oh God. I'm just so happy. He's the love of my life.
I know.
And it's just when you're like, thank God it didn't work out with anyone else because
I was there.
You were there.
I was there.
You remember the ones?
I was like, oh, geez, this isn't looking good. I was like, oh, God. Keep going.
It was not looking good. Let's not even bring that up.
Listen, you got to go through it.
Listen, honestly, for anyone who's single, I just want you to know I was single for so long. I refused to settle it. And there were so many nice guys I met and there were some not nice guys, but I was just like, if I'm not 100% in love and in my gut, obsessed with this person, I couldn't do it. I would have rather been alone. So I met my person later in life and it was just worth everything, worth the wait.
Full body chills. And let me just tell you, Mona and Gary are, no. They are the friends that you go to dinner with and they're just intertwined. Their hands are like this and Noah and I are this far apart and we're watching Mona and Gary and I'm like, get over here. And we're so.
We're in love too.
Yeah. We're happily married. No, but it's just, and they sleep like this, with their hands locked in. They're not kidding.
No, it's just, we're very soul connected.
Very. They're annoyingly in love, but yes. I love you guys so much. I tell them, I'm just you guys really make us all think we need couples therapy.
I know Simon's always Phil, we need to work on some things.
But it's just so sweet. I love your love.
Oh my God, I know seeing you happy for me is just the sweetest thing because like you said, not everyone truly, truly loves seeing their friends or family happy. And you're one of those people. Melissa's a crier. When you see love or anything sweet, you actually cry tears. And it's just one of my favorite things about you.
It makes my heart happy. And you guys, if you have people in your life who you claim to be your friends and they are not so ecstatic and happy for you when things in your life are going well, reassess the people at your table, you guys. Yep. And even I remember you were going through it. You weren't in the best place. If something was happening great for me, you were the first person. You and, I have so many great supporters in my life, but those are the people you want to surround yourself with.
Yes.
And that's why even meeting you later in life, you're meant to be connected with certain people to show you maybe your other friends suck.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are things in life that we need to just be honest with and about.
And I love when you say let it go with love. Like
with
just
so much.
With so much love. It's like, they're just not meant for you at that time. And I want people to know, like, you were so good to me from day one. I was this single girl just trying to figure out life, and you and Noah like just brought me into your family. We traveled together. I stayed with you in the Hamptons and we were new friends.
Yeah.
So I just think we had this instant connection where it felt like family. And I don't forget that. I love supporting you. And I'm so proud of you. I remember when it was just you and Dylan in your apartment with Benjamin. And it was just, I don't know. You've done so much and you're so inspiring to everyone around you. I love you.
Thank you. I love you.
See, she cries. She's so sweet. I love it.
I love you. And you love my kids too, which is just, our nanny always says, she's like, Mona really loves your kids.
I really do. I really love them.
I love you.
I love you too.
Okay. It's just like not an episode if I don't cry. But we're going to end with our rapid fire questions. I feel like we already need to schedule a part 2 because there's so many things that we need to talk about. But I always end with just a few questions.
Okay. These make me nervous.
They do? No, they're not.
No, not
like
in a bad,
that.
I don't know why.
They're not like that. What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Meditation.
Ooh.
Meaning, is that what you mean? Like, what's the first thing I think about?
What's the thing that like gets you inspired or motivated to wake up?
Oh, gets me inspired. Just building. I love building and creating.
Great answer. What motivates you when you're feeling down?
Meditation. It makes me trust that everything's in perfect order.
This makes me so
And
happy.
Gary.
I was going to say Gary.
Honestly, Gary, like, he is just my supporter and rock and like cheerleader, and he always makes me feel calm. But I would say the two of those things.
What is your end all be all self-care ritual?
End all be all, like one thing?
Meditation.
See, this is why I hate rapid fire.
Nope.
I don't know why. They make me nervous.
No, I want to tell a story with rapid fire. I can't rapid fire.
Yeah, I'm like, what, can you elaborate? Like, how many words?
Like, what is a one thing in your life that's like your go-to? Like, I mean, is it like infrared sauna, cold plunge?
Got it. Okay. I love
Gua sha.
A cold shower and a hot bath. An Epsom salt bath, I do probably 4 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
I do too. What's your cult favorite beauty product?
Cult favorite beauty products? Probably Juice Beauty CC Cream sunscreen.
You've always you turned me on to that.
Honestly, like, they were the OGs. There's a lot of good sunscreens out there now, but that CC cream, gives you a little glow, non-toxic.
Mona's the best too when it comes to like sunscreens. You've turned me on to so many.
There's just so many good ones.
There's so many.
It's so important.
There's so many good ones and so many bad ones.
Yes.
Okay, last but not least, what does moving with your heart mean to you?
God, when I really think of my heart and like the thing that connects to that the most, it's Gary and family and love, just the people around me. Like, that's really the most important thing to me. If I had to pick one, it's that. Keeping that in mind, and it helps me silence out all the noise. When work can get stressful or you get caught up in like your ego, I close my eyes and I meditate. And when I want to feel love, I picture us and our family and we're just home and it's Christmas and that's it.
She's not kidding.
I'm not kidding. That's
you've just always, that's what you've wanted.
It's been my North Star. It's my number one. And it's, it's different for everybody, but I think it's just the one thing I've always wanted. And I think Gary came into my life like just the most loving, affectionate, loyal person.
I'm so happy for you guys. Like, it just makes my heart so warm, and seeing you just like in your essence and all of the things that you wanted, like you're just a living, breathing example of what it means to like never give up on the things that you really deeply desire and the way that you want to feel.
And everyone has different desires. I just think in your partner, that person should make you the best version of yourself. Like, you should feel so free and like the most like yourself because none of my other partners did that. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I found the right one. So I just want everyone to know that you should feel like your absolute best with a person that's in your life.
100%. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Mona Vand on website, TikTok, and Instagram.
I love you.
I love you so much.
Like, diehard supporter. Give me that ring.